Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, lady.
Welcome to the 6th Constitutional Convention's Standing Committee on Culture and Heritage. Um, I'm hearing Member Carrington. I know that Member Akima Richardson is not going to be able to join us. Who else is on?
Hi, Delegate
Feel free.
here.
Good afternoon, Imani. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you.
How you doing,
Uh,
Devin?
Okay, how are you, Imani?
Doing well. No
How did
complaint.
how did last night go? I couldn't make it.
Last night was good. We finished local government.
That was a trek.
Man, we did it though, and we're on to executive branch, and hopefully Chairman Ross and I can do some editing to our schedule, our drafting schedule.
All right, good.
Anyone else is on? Let me see. Where's Rudel? You mean he's not here?
I will also say that we had a really good executive committee meeting today as well. So I'm looking forward to some updates from executive committee.
Good.
Excellent.
Member Hendricks, I
Hi,
see
good
you.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Lord, I'm glad I get in.
I am so glad to. And we have a quorum because I don't know. Imani, do you have any information on Ronald, or Devin, do you have any information on Ronald?
I haven't heard any updated information on him. I haven't.
Okay. How about you, Akima? Imani?
No, I haven't either. I have been sending the meeting uh links and things like that. But he did join one of our government structures.
Okay, so he's coming along.
Hmm.
Okay, so we have Lydia, we have Devin, we have Alicia. So we have a quorum, which is good. I expected to have tonight a guest to explain about the cultural centers and all those different commission, VI Cultural and Historic Commission. But I imagine in the mail and the snail mail and the email and whatever, that was not, I didn't hear back from them, I should say. But I know I wrote to the members of the committee and asked as a preventative measure for us to look at the preamble. So we still have some work to do. We need to do Article 14 on culture and preamble, and then we're ready to send our work to plenary, which should be August 2nd. Um, the preamble from the Fifth Constitutional Convention, does everyone have copies with theirs? We're trying to put it up on the other half of the screen. Yes? No?
Sorry, I'm pulling mine
Repeat that.
up.
Repeat that, please.
The preamble from the Fifth Constitutional Convention.
I'm sorry. Repeat it one more time. Sorry.
The preamble from the Fifth Constitutional Convention, if we'll look at that. And did you hear me when I said that someone was invited to come and speak about the
I heard
Cultural
that.
Institute and
I
all
heard
that,
that.
but I didn't
Yes.
hear back from them. So
Yes.
we could go on and still do some work because time is getting close. So we're trying to pull up the preamble from the Fifth Constitutional Convention. Give us a few minutes. Good afternoon, Rudel. How are you?
Good afternoon, delegates. I'm doing wonderful. How about everybody else?
Good, thank you. So while we're trying to get the shared screen for the Fifth Constitutional Convention preamble, the first thing I noticed is that the heading said, "The Constitution of the Virgin Islands of the United States Fifth Constitutional Convention then it said preamble. And then when it went down to the first paragraph, it says, "We, the people of the Virgin Islands." And I think we need to repeat Virgin Islands of the United States because that's our name. So that's the first edit that I thought that we should look at.
I disagree.
Why?
I
Because
also disagree.
Let me hear your disagreement.
we are our own people.
So why does the heading say the Constitution of the Virgin Islands of the United States, Fifth Constitutional Convention?
Because
And
they
then
wrong.
I'm sorry.
I said because they wrong.
So we don't want to say that at all. So we're starting at the heading.
I would agree.
I like this. So the heading should be, or the suggested wording for the heading should be,
Let's take off the United States,
the Constitution of the
Virgin Islands.
Virgin Islands
Yes.
of the United States.
No.
No, not of the United States.
Well, I think we had some other conversations about, changing the name of the Virgin Islands. I think someone suggested adding in Commonwealth, but that didn't seem very popular. So there have been other conversations about what we call ourselves. I will say legally, the British Virgin Islands official name is the Virgin Islands. So we'd have to be cognizant of that. But I think it's worth having the discussion and exploring what Devin's saying. We are our own people and we should be able to define how we identify.
The essence of self-determination is determining for yourself who you are, what you want to be. And I think that keeping that United States label next to our name is not, in my opinion, not a definition of who I want us to be or who we are, in fact.
Delegate Hendricks, you want to weigh in on this?
Not really.
Get closer to your microphone.
I'm trying to find the fifth constitution.
Oh, we have it up on the screen, so it's okay.
Okay, but I seen it.
Get closer to your microphone.
All I have on my thing right now, it's saying the host has enabled local recordings.
I'm sorry?
On my phone, what I'm seeing is the host has enabled local recordings. I don't see what you're
Oh, you're not, you're on your phone, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, that's, yeah, okay.
Okay, I think I see it now.
Are you?
I hope so.
This is your language, Delegate Wells?
I sort of made some notes just for conversation's sake.
Okay.
I sort of, I'm backtracking now because I like what you and Imani are saying. I didn't even think about the heading until I noticed it this morning when I saw that the heading on the Fifth Constitutional Convention said, like I read before, the Constitution of the Virgin Islands of the United States, Fifth Constitutional Convention. And then after the word preamble, the heading preamble, it said, "We, the people of the Virgin Islands." And I know that I've had some conversations and people have said, "We're the Virgin Islands of the United States." And Devin, I like your and Imani's reasoning. I like your reason because you say you don't, you want to call yourself whatever you think you are, not what it says here for the Fifth Constitutional Convention. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that in this Constitution, we're attempting to forge our own identity to a large degree. And I don't think that should include naming us in a way that associates us with anybody else.
So the suggested language that you will have us use is?
You mean in the heading?
The heading and straight right before
I would say
the word preamble.
we the people of the Virgin Islands.
Okay. And at the heading of before the word preamble, the Constitution
Of
of
the
the
Virgin
Virgin Islands, you
Islands.
would delete United States.
Yes.
Okay. Sixth Constitutional Convention. Okay. And Member Hendricks, so you have a chance to look at that and let me hear what you think about that.
Yes, I like that.
I'm sorry?
Yes, I like that.
You need to
Constitution of
go on the side of your phone and
the
press that
Virgin
button so we can
Islands.
make your
Yes, it is we the people of the Virgin Islands.
right and delete of the United States.
Right.
Okay. So we have consensus on that. Okay. The Sixth Constitutional Convention, that would be there, yes.
Yes.
And then the word preamble, okay, the first paragraph.
Yes.
We the people of the Virgin Islands, and what do we think of that? Did we have a chance to look at it? Grateful to Almighty God for creation, preservation, freedom, and divine guidance. And I imagine I had a conversation with somebody and they wanted to add um, definition to divine guidance. And they thought about saying to Jah or to whomever else that they respect and pay homage to. What do we think about that?
I don't think we need to get involved in that kind of
I'm
thing.
not hearing you.
I don't know if we need to get involved in that because, like you say, you can put Jah, Halasi, Felix, Halasi, Rastafari, all kind of thing people won't want you put.
So you're good with divine guidance?
Yeah,
Are you too, Devin?
it's a little vague, but it's a bit vague, but I you know, I don't know. Uh,
So we don't want to get too involved with with the person's religion. That's what you're saying, Member Hendricks?
yeah,
Okay. Devin, what's your thought? Devin? Udell, what's your thought on this?
I can I just wanted to go back to some of the notes from the previous meeting.
Good.
Somebody in the chat had suggested that we use creator instead of Almighty God because it is more inclusive of different religions. And I think most people on this meeting were okay with that. So it would be we the people of the Virgin Islands, grateful to the creator for our creation, preservation, freedom. And I don't think anyone had an issue with divine guidance because that is also a pretty broad and inclusive term.
I agree. That was the point I was trying to make.
And Ms. Hendricks, Delegate Hendricks, could you just come closer to your microphone? I'm having trouble hearing you.
Hearing you, yes.
I was saying that is exactly what I was saying. Rather than specifying certain religions and stuff like that, let us just say the creator.
So
Yeah.
the creator for our creation, that seems like a
Well, we
tongue
don't have to
twister
put
there.
creation.
What's that?
You don't have to use the word creation. We could come up with something else.
What would you come up with?
Repeat the sentence. Let me hear it again.
We, the people of the Virgin Islands, grateful to our Creator for our preservation, freedom, and divine guidance, leaving out the word creation. Oh, there it is. Can you see it, Member Hendricks?
I was, and it's gone. Yes.
It's on your screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if we take out, excuse me, the word creation, since we're changing grateful to our Creator instead of Almighty God, we're deleting Almighty God, which I'm good with. For our, do we want to say creation again?
I think we can say existence.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, for our existence, preservation, freedom, and divine guidance could work.
Good.
Also, if you wanted to use the side-by-side workbook document, I'm also editing just for your records. But if you want to share that, everyone could see. Totally up to you. We could focus on the 5th, but it's the side-by-side comparison with both.
Well, that might be even better. So, can you share,
Yeah, do you need me to email the link again? Would that be helpful?
please? Thank
Okay.
you.
No problem.
So I'm gonna get cut off?
No,
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 no, no, no.
don't touch anything. You're good.
Not a thing.
Okay, so we have so far, we the people of the Virgin Islands, grateful to the Creator for our existence, preservation, freedom. Did we change divine guidance or no? No. Divine guidance, mindful of our Virgin Islands heritage and uniqueness.
What I would want to make a comment, if I may.
Yes, you may.
I like the word freedom, but we are not a free people
True.
in one sense. So I would like to suggest God-given freedom.
Mhm.
God given freedom. How do you feel about that, Member Hendricks?
Ah,
Thank you. You saw it.
ah.
Member Hendricks, I lost you or no?
I can live with it, but um,
Get closer to your microphone.
I said I can live with it.
Uh huh.
But as we continue, maybe something else might pop up.
Okay, a
And
God given freedom and divine guidance, mindful of our Virgin Islands heritage and uniqueness, and assuming the responsibility of self government as an unincorporated territory of the United States.
is anything wrong, or does anybody have any uh, objection to using the word colony?
Oh,
Ah,
I do.
that's
I
fine
do.
too. I think that's
Why do
fine.
you, Delegate Wells?
Colony reminds me too much of subjugation and
But that's what it
slavery and
is. That's what it is.
I think it's very clear that it is. We are subjects of the United States as a territory that
Colonial subjects.
that our inhabitants are savages.
oh, let me take a little break behind that, Rudolph.
I
What?
mean, let's call a
You're
spade
right,
a
though.
spade. Let's call a spade a spade.
You're right.
I'm
Why
with you, Devin. Could you provide the context of the word that you're envisioning?
colony?
We're just stating that that is our existence and we want something different, or using it in a different way?
We are no. I'm stating it. I'm stating that I am urging that we be as how to say real,
Honest, yeah.
for lack of a better word, in describing what our status is. This unincorporated territory, it you know it while that in itself, for some people that may have a benign meaning, but a colony certainly does not, and I'd rather not dress it up to make it look acceptable.
So therefore, I'm hearing uniqueness, assuming the responsibilities of self-government as a colony of the United. We don't want to use United States either, do we?
No, we do, because we are a colony of the United States.
I think it could be helpful to look at like the first paragraph as a whole, or some, and I think on your other document, that's how you had it, Chair Wells, kind of broken into those segments. But I think if
Mm-hmm.
we review and maybe think about what we all really like, or maybe some things that make us feel icky and some things that we're missing. We can like recraft this section by section. Because I think if we go word by word, I think all of us at some point will speak up with a suggestion, you know?
Okay, I like your suggestion, yes, and I'll follow that. I don't have I don't have the prior language that I had suggested with me. Do you have anything
For
there?
for the preamble,
Yes.
no, I have drafted language for the preamble, but it's not ready to share. And I also would appreciate if we could do this collectively. I think that would make it so much stronger than anything I would suggest by myself. So I'm totally in favor of the approach you have of us collectively going through this, but I don't have any language today.
Okay. That's fine. I understand work. Yes, we've been working arduously. Okay. So going back, assuming the responsibilities of self-government as a colony. Delegates Hendricks and Carrington, yes,
Yes.
as a colony.
It's my suggestion, but I'm open to a consensus, of course.
Well, I just had to take a little a 1 minute check, but I'm good. I'm good. As a colony, yeah, it hits you when you hear the word, but it is like you said, it's exactly what we are.
It's supposed to hit you.
It certainly did. I mean, I had to like sit back in my chair here. Colony of
It,
the United States, period, then, or semicolon there.
just really quick, Devin had a suggestion or a note about freedom that I missed. Devin, could you clarify or repeat the language?
Yeah, I suggested that.
God given freedom.
Oh,
I
okay.
suggested God given freedom because I don't want to suggest in our preamble that we are free.
Okay. Can we pick a different phrase, like
Sure. Suggest.
inalienable human freedom?
Yeah, I like.
Go ahead.
No, I like where you're going.
Because I don't know if God give it to me either.
Okay, no.
You're very right. Well, put
Not.
inalienable
Let's
slash.
let's use the word. Let's use the word natural freedom.
Sorry, it cut out, Devin. Which word?
Natural.
Ah, very good. Thank you. So philosophical. I'm here for it. All right. Sorry. Please continue, Delegate Wells, after United States.
Where was I? Colony of the territory of the United States, and I said a semicolon there before we continue in order to promote more unity among our islands for ourselves and our posterity. Promote the general welfare, protect the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual, ensure political, social, and economic justice. Well, I don't believe we have that. Maintain a republican form of government, yes. Protect our culture and natural resources and preserve the identity of the Virgin Islands. Let me hear some comments on that first.
In that phrase, once again, trying to be as clear about this mission we're on. I think that we want to promote the general welfare, but also promote the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual. Because once again, we can't protect what we don't have.
True.
So I would suggest promote after welfare.
After welfare, let me see where I am.
Wait, sorry.
Rather than protect the fundamental rights and freedoms, promote the fundamental rights and freedoms. Change the
We can
word
we can
from
we can we can
protect
we
to
can play with the
promote.
words. We can play with the words, but I don't like protect. In that at this point we don't have the fundamental rights and freedoms that we should have.
Can we say pursue?
I like that. I like that.
What did you say? What did you say, Imani?
Pursue?
Pursue the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual. But we have to change the rest of that then, because pursue the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual doesn't seem to make sense, does it?
No,
I'm
it
okay
does.
with it.
I think we could add pursue and strive for the fundamental rights.
Pursue and
Strive.
strive. Okay. Delegate Hendricks, you're good with that?
Yeah, yes.
Pursue and strive.
Well, Devin, I think you know what I'm going to suggest next, but it's
Go on.
to add of the individual and the collective.
You read my thoughts, Imani Daniel.
Put it
Nice.
right in there. Let's see. I'm better at being visual than hearing. Write it in there and let me read it.
Okay, the last line.
Hmm.
Pursue and strive for the fundamental rights and freedom of the individual
And the collective, yes.
I like ensure social and economic justice.
Ensure political, social, and economic justice. That's good.
Can I add environmental in there?
I
Well,
love
we
it.
need that,
I love
yes.
it. I love that.
Okay, then here we are. Go ahead, Delegate Wells.
Yes, then we have ensure political, social, economic, and environmental justice. Protect,
Maintain.
where am I?
Maintain.
Yeah.
Maintain a Republican form of government. Should we put the culture and natural resources up there? That's that sentence about environmental justice to keep it flowing.
Yes, I think we should. Well, I think we should maintain a Republican form of government, which I also have critiques for. I think we should move that toward the top. Responsibilities of self-government as a colony of the United States. I think we put it first.
Yeah.
We maintain a Republican form of government, and then in order to promote more unity, we do these other things. Or we could put it before general welfare, but I agree, Wells, that it kind of breaks up the flow of the end of that paragraph.
I right, I agree, because right after the economic justice, we'd want to say about protecting our culture and natural. Well, after the environmental justice, we should speak then about protecting our culture and natural resources, keeping that full, and then preserve the identity
Yeah,
of the
that flows better.
So where would we put
Where
the Republican form of government?
where Imani suggested.
I see it.
Okay, so
Divide guidance.
Yeah, I just put it in on the right column, and I'm highlighting it on the screen. So, assuming the responsibilities of self-government as a colony of the United States, maintain a Republican form of government, and in order to promote unity among our islands for ourselves, and then it goes on.
I like that. Let's hear from Member Hendricks. You have a
Yes, I'm following along.
okay, great.
I'm good.
Okay, and Devin, you are too.
I am good.
Good. So we're through with paragraph 1. Thank you.
Not quite.
Yes, not quite.
Good. There's something else. Oh, protect Or preserve the identity of the Virgin Islands?
Protect our culture and natural resources.
Okay, let me go back.
You know, I'm fine with protect our culture and natural resources, but I'm looking for a better word for like leverage or maximize or honor. Because it's one thing to protect, but it's another to like use it as a strength. And I think that's what we should be striving for.
I hear you.
So do we want to
We have the word preserve in there.
preserve?
Yes, we have it a couple of.
Okay, I was thinking you were protecting and preserving it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just let's leave what's there for now. So we're protect our culture and natural resources and preserve the identity of the Virgin Islands.
Okay, so I have my handy dandy online thesaurus ChatGPT has some suggestions. If maybe we could go through and see what we like.
Sure.
Okay, so there's harness. There's also uplift or celebrate or honor, activate, steward, which I like, or leverage.
Which one you like?
I like steward.
Okay.
What word are you saying?
Steward.
Steward. Oh, okay. I like activate.
I don't how
Okay.
it sounds in the sentence though.
That's true. We would have to wordsmith it or make it fit. You're right.
Yeah. And be the stewards or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, instead of protect our culture and natural resources, protect our culture and be stewards of our natural resources.
I guess we can come back to it. You're right. I don't want to.
Yeah. Let's come back to that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the whereas will be in all caps and then a comma after the whereas. We recognize the indigenous peoples who inhabited these islands. We especially recognize the significant hardship endured by the enslaved Africans during the period of European colonial rule, which precipitated in 1933. 1933 wasn't a revolution, that was a revolt. So that's.
Well, it says revolution, revolt.
I'm sorry?
Revolution, revolt, synonymous.
I like the word revolt better, Devin. It has more oomph to it.
Okay. I could live with that.
Okay. The successful 1840 emancipation insurrection and the 1970 fire burn on St. Croix and the 1982 coal workers strike on St. Thomas. Let's have some suggestions for that paragraph.
I mean, I like it. Basically, I mean, we could change that revolution to revolt. I have no problem with that at all.
Okay.
Yeah,
Remember,
a revolution is like you just come out to play.
I come out to
I'm
play.
serious. I'm coming for what I want and I'm going to get it. That's a
And
revolt.
I'm not leaving till I get it.
Right.
Mary's Point.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Mary's Point. Remember, that's where all the slaves jumped over when they were trying to
St.
recapture
John, St.
them.
John.
Yeah, St. John. Rudell, you're quiet in this area right here. Let me hear your thoughts on this paragraph.
I like it a lot actually. I think it's a pretty well written paragraph.
Yes.
It goes through kind of some of the more historical events in Virgin Islands history.
Yes.
I don't think
Excuse me.
change much. I do agree with you. Changing the words revolt, revolution to revolt gives it a little bit more oomph.
Yeah,
I
it does.
think
It does.
it does, and it also kind of expresses more of what happened because a revolution usually lasts. A revolt can be, can both be long or short lived.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay. Thank you. Well, that was a quick paragraph. Great.
yeah.
May I?
Yes, you may.
Thanks. I just think we should be more intentional and explicit about recognizing the original indigenous peoples here, as we define ourselves on a land that actually isn't ours. So I could do some research, but I know this is Arawak and Taino land. They had languages and cultures, so I'd like to see that expressed and honored if we can.
And I agree.
I do
Speaking
too.
of that, going to the names and expressing those things, I also uploaded my white paper just to formalize my expression that we have discussed before previously about it. It might be uh, it might be important to rename the Virgin Islands as a branded thing, as we are considered the Virgin Islands, but legally we are the Virgin Islands of the United States. And I think in the preamble, if we use like the term the United Virgin Islands or the Unified Virgin Islands, um, is a better expression of our people.
Repeat that last thing you said, Rudel.
The last thing,
Yes, about
so
rebranding. About rebranding.
rebranding. So again, we as a people typically call ourselves the Virgin Islands, right, or the U.S. Virgin Islands. However, legally, right, our name is the United States Virgin Islands, the Virgin Islands of the United States of America, and I think it will be relevant to put the exact branding we want for our islands in this document, right? And the branding I'm suggesting is the United Virgin Islands or the Unified Virgin Islands because we are all separate islands that have come together into one entity.
So the word you're suggesting is unified or united Virgin Islands.
Correct.
Okay. Devin, what do you think?
I like that.
United or unified?
United.
United,
UVI.
Lydia, member
Yes, united, not unified.
United Virgin Islands of the United States. Amani?
No, no, not of the
No, no,
United
no, no.
States.
I know United States. I'm sorry. That's
That's
just,
United
oh,
Virgin Islands.
I like that. Okay.
Sorry,
United Virgin Islands.
it's not of
Amani?
anything.
Nope.
Oh, I liked of the Caribbean because I envision a day where we and BVI are one.
I
I
agree. I agree. But I also, when in my workshop in of the Caribbean, it's kind of redundant because we are of the
Yeah.
Caribbean,
Yeah. We did
right?
talk about that, but
And
okay.
then it does open up the possibility that I do hope and envision that there's one day a merging of all of the Virgin Islands into one entity.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
we're bringing back from the Spanish through the British. We demanded. So the group now is petitioning to change the name to the United Virgin Islands.
United Virgin Islands, yes.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to make a note of that because I'm not actually, I think that's actually discussed in Principles of Government where we establish our name, no?
I'm not sure.
Okay. That's okay. We'll figure it out later. I'll make a note of it. And then I did add some language around the indigenous peoples. We could probably pare it down a bit. But why are you laughing, Devin?
Because
No,
somebody
because-
told me you were an Indian.
I'm laughing because I appreciate it, and it sounds like you.
All right. United Virgin Islands. I appreciate that. So Delegate Wells, if I may read this.
Yes, you may.
Great. So it would read, whereas we recognize and honor the original indigenous peoples of these Virgin Islands, including the Siboney, Taino, and Kalinago, or Carib, who for centuries cultivated these lands and waters, developed sophisticated knowledge systems, engaged in regional trade, and maintained rich cultural traditions rooted in respect for the natural world. Their displacement and decimation during European colonization mark a profound loss that we must remember as we envision a more just and equitable future. And that we
Marked,
especially recognize the significant hardship. Mhm.
marked
Go back
a,
to the sentence, Imani, with developed sophisticated. Read that sentence again.
Yes. Who for centuries cultivated these lands and waters, developed sophisticated knowledge systems, engaged in regional trade, and maintained rich cultural traditions rooted in respect for the natural world.
Okay.
I think the word after colonization should be marked ed, no?
You're displacing this moving. I think it might actually be an S. I'm not sure.
Anyway, we'll just put a question mark, then we could always go back.
Okay.
Marked a profound, or marks a profound loss. And you know that as an aside, they're now negotiating with Megan's Bay, a section of Megan's Bay, to put up a permanent village there. I
Yeah,
saw that
I
on
heard about that.
Facebook and some other thing. I think that's very, very good.
I read about that. Yeah,
Yes.
interesting.
So that's excellent. Okay. Any other comments about that? Whereas I'm glad we got that in. Thank you, Imai. That was good.
So would we like a second whereas for the African struggle, our ancestral struggle? Or do we want to just put that with the indigenous
No,
acknowledgement?
no. It should be a separate
No.
paragraph.
I think it should be separate.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I do think there could be, and not super pushing for it, but a kind of impact statement of what the African struggle has offered us in modern times at the end of this.
At the end of this paragraph here after St. Thomas, co-workers strike in St. Thomas.
Yes.
Okay.
Suggest.
Let's play with it for a while and see how it lands.
Suggest. Imani, what were you suggesting?
Yeah, I'm thinking something along the lines of, like our ancestral call to movement or freedom or the pursuit of, a rejection of standing idle or complacent among oppression, just something that like draws from the past that we are calling in today.
Which precipitated the revolt, the insurrection, the fireburn, and the co-workers strike. I would say along the lines that you're thinking, that the naming of these events, I'm just paraphrasing here now,
Succinctly.
demonstrating our people's desire to be free, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hang on, I'm writing. Okay. I probably need to change this some more. I'm going to add it here.
Yes, Adam, we play with it.
All right. So we draw strength and direction from their acts of resistance and insist that the spirit of liberation, self-determination, and collective justice they embodied must guide the principles and protections enshrined in this Constitution.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Wonderful.
I see what you're saying.
Delegate Hendricks?
Yeah, it sounded like Imani was doing some homework, man.
She's always
I'm
giving
using
people
my
homework.
resources. I'm just using what's available right now.
I think that's...
You have a book that we don't have.
It's in her brain.
So, Imani, preface that with whereas as well.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that just like it is.
Okay. No worries.
Read it both ways and then let us see how,
So it would be going from The Emancipation Insurrection, the 1878 fire burn on St. Croix, and the 1892 coal workers strike on St. Thomas. We draw
Right.
strength and direction from their acts of resistance and insist in the spirit of liberation. So it'd just be one paragraph, and that's kind of like the takeaway of the whereas, in my opinion. But it's also fine as a standalone clause as well.
So
Whichever
should
you-
we put a whereas to begin that, or just have it as a separate paragraph? Because it's part of the whereas clause preceding it, yes?
That's my takeaway, but I don't feel strongly about it. So
Yeah,
I don't need
see
that, I'm
where
just
the errors come in.
checking.
Uh,
What do you think,
generally,
Devin and Lydia?
generally, and I'm thinking about some grammatical stuff. Generally, after whereas clauses uh, are uh, they, are put a semicolon and the word and, whereas blam blam blam, and whereas. So
Oh, okay, I understand what you.
so we set
But
we setting up all the reasons that we write this constitution. These are our thoughts. This is our strength. This is our principles that we're stating for all the world to see why we have written what we write below.
I was thinking that the last whereas doesn't need to have whereas because it should be um, a statement that buttress what came in the prior whereas. That was just my thought.
But it does.
That's why I wouldn't have a whereas to begin it. I would have it as a separate paragraph without a whereas. Can you have a paragraph without a whereas? I don't know.
So I think once we get started with the whereases, based on Devin's helpful summary, I'm seeing whereas as like a historic bullet point. So for each of our independent clauses, we should have whereas. And then at the end, the last sentence of the preamble is now, therefore, we do ordain.
Exactly.
To wrap up like the bullet point section. So I think the question is really, is this clause about we draw strength and direction, is that a separate bullet point, or would we rather just include it in the previous bullet point?
No, I think this whereas, the last whereas should be separate for more impact.
Yes, I think so too.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to add that to the top one.
I think so.
Okay, great. And then I'll fix this. Okay.
I like that. I really like it.
Did we, this is an aside, did we, no, I guess you'll tell us after, Imani, about your executive meeting about this, the attorney who's going to help us with the drafting. I can do that later. I was going to ask a question, but it's all right.
Okay.
Okay, so whereas the transfer of the Danish West Indies to the United States of America through the Treaty of Secession of 1917 confirmed that the civil rights and political status of the inhabitants of the island shall be determined by the United States Congress. I know we're going to have some discussion on this. Open discussion. Let's hear.
It's not on the screen, right?
Yes, it is. It's over on your left. And then what we're creating is on the right. It's in pinkish.
Purple.
Okay.
Okay. Whereas the transfer of the former Danish. That's where we are?
Mm-hmm.
I like the language. What I would add is some phrase or words that speak to the fact that either the transfer or that the transfer or the determination by Congress of our rights and political status was done without any of our, was done without our consent.
Input and consent.
I'm right there with you, Devin. I added 3 clauses I think we should add. 1, it was without the consent of the people. 2, the United States acquired a strategic colonial military possession. And 3, that they have since denied its people full citizen rights or full civil rights, citizenship, and political self-determination.
Agree. Now we need to get that in language. I agree with what you said.
I could live with all 3.
Yes.
Me too.
Cosign, cosign, cosign.
All right, so let's try to work this in. Also, if we could not call ourselves inhabitants, I'd feel cool about that.
I agree with that
Yeah,
too.
I could live with that too.
Okay. Whereas the transfer of the Danish West Indies to the United States of America through the Treaty of Secession of 1917 confirmed that the civil rights and political status of
The inhabitants.
of whom?
Of the people.
Yes,
We were people. Human.
yes, yes.
People of the islands shall be determined by, or was determined by United States Congress without, come, wordsmithing.
Yeah.
Without consent. Something.
We didn't even have a say in any of that.
Not at all.
Oof.
Not at all. Not a word.
Actually, we did. So in December of 1916, there was an unofficial vote put up in St. Croix, and about, I think, 4,000 people voted. And of the 4,000 that voted, only 7 voted against the sale of the U.S. Now, there's tons of caveats about who was allowed to vote, who was
Right.
asked, what the messaging
I was
was.
about to
And
say
who was
that
counting those votes?
Correct. Right. Now, they did let the people of Denmark vote, and it was the people of Denmark that actually decided democratically to sell us to the U.S. And it's one of the only times in history that by means of democratic vote, a colony has been sold.
We have to say something about that.
What is also interesting is that I've read some stuff online that comes from the Danish archives, and there was some consideration given by someone in power, which is ironic, that the anti-black sentiment in the United States would be to the detriment of the people of the Virgin Islands once transferred.
Yes. Yes, there were loud voices. And I think, isn't that around the time that the Herald is birthed?
Just about.
Yeah, I think, I'd have to go back, but it was fascinating reading about what was happening here and in Denmark during that time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that was what, 1916? That
yes,
some of the sentiments were voiced even when the sale was first proposed in the late 1890s and early 1900s.
Yes. Because Germany was interested in us as well, and that's what actually, to some accounts, finally flipped the switch for the U.S. to make the sale as soon as Germany was interested, given our military positionality.
I've read about that. Yeah, there's a one-upmanship there. Okay, wordsmith in here. Whereas the transfer of the former Danish West Indies, United States of America through the Treaty of Secession acquired the strategic colonial military possession without the consent of the people of the Virgin Islands. This treaty confirmed that the civil rights and political status of the inhabitants shall be determined by the United States Congress which had denied the people full civil rights, citizenship open. Can you make that a 14 font or you can't?
Yes, I can make it bigger.
Thank you. Good. Okay. Thank you. Danish West Indies United States, although treaty of acquired a strategic colonial military position without the consent of the people in the Virgin Islands. This treaty confirmed that the civil rights and political status of the inhabitants of the island shall be determined by the United States Congress, which has denied the people of Virgin full civil rights. Oh yeah, I'm good with that. Devin and Lydia, what do you think? Oh, we could read it better now because it's all cap. I mean, it's larger font.
I like it.
I do too.
Just reminding the people.
Well, then I thought about it. That's what they called us.
Inhabitants?
Well, we changed from inhabitants to in a prior whereas we changed it from inhabitants to what? People, right?
Yeah, just given this sentence and how damning this sentence is, I think having inhabitants there in quotes or however is actually quite powerful.
Ooh, okay.
The treaty confirmed that the civil rights and political status of the inhabitants of the islands, that's what the conversation was. It wasn't about the humans and their rights.
I'm good with that. I'm good with the entire whereas just as it is. Let's hear some comments. Rudell, you want to weigh in or you're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Devin, you're good too?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Okay, what year was it that Judge Almeric Christian with the public schools and the persons who were not part of the Virgin Islands students who were not part or born in the Virgin Islands could go to public school rather than requesting or they had to go to private school. What year was that, Devin? Do you remember?
Oh my. I used to know.
I
I
did.
think
Well,
I
you're
think
the
it was, I think it
counselor.
was
You
six,
should.
I think it was 66, 67 thereabout.
66. Okay.
Because it was actually maybe a little earlier, but it coincided with the advent of Hesoil
Sunday.
and Art Marietta,
Uh-huh.
which resulted in a lot of foreign workers coming here and bringing their children. You see,
And it had to be before 65 or 66 because I remember an influx of students at All Saints because they had to
Yeah.
go to private school before they could get into
Right.
the public school.
Right.
yeah. Well,
It probably
early
was
to
like
mid,
63.
I think mid 60s.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that very well. Okay, moving right along.
This is interesting language. This
Yes, it
paragraph.
is. Mass Naturalization Acts. Now here we're called, instead of inhabitants again, now we're natives in this whereas. Or they were natives in this one. Whereas the adoption of the Mass Naturalization Acts of 1927 and 1932 identified the natives of the Virgin Islands who resided in the islands on January 17, 1917, and whose descendants are ancestral native Virgin Islanders. Okay. Ooh, okay.
First of all, I would say, where is the adoption of the? Whereas
Devin, can
through
you
the
speak a little
adoption
louder?
of everybody there?
Can you speak a little louder, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A little wordsmithing. Whereas through the adoption of the Mass Naturalization Acts of 27 and 32, the United States identified natives of the Virgin Islands.
Hmm. True.
That wasn't ours. So the identification of us as natives was their designation.
So we got from inhabitants to natives. We're moving up and down this chain here.
Right. Okay, what is the purpose of this clause? What is this bullet point expressing?
The same, I think it's
I think
expressing the same thing why the Fifth Constitutional Convention
I think it's
was not passed when it got to the President of the United States.
I think it's trying to bolster or set up uh, the rationale for the definitions that followed below in the fifth.
Okay, when I read it, I become confused. And so if that is the intent, then yeah, I think we just need to wordsmith it, but I'm also not convinced that it's necessary. So it's just not persuasive to me as it's written right now as a section.
And because we agreed in prior meetings that we weren't um, talking about the descendants of ancestral native Virgin Islands from 1917, probably you are correct that this whole whereas should be deleted. I don't know. Let's hear some more comments. I would personally delete that entire whereas clause or set it on the side for later to come back. But I don't see, because of what we've done before and the consensus that we've had on other section, this is not necessary.
Yeah. I think the first part is necessary because it kind of documents the colonial regime that the Virgin Islands has endured, right? And I think it's very important that it is expressed in front of Congress because this whole document will be read into the record of Congress. And I don't believe a lot of uncultured non-Virgin Islanders would know that this is part of the colonial history, right? We were not we were basically stateless entities, stateless humans until we had this Mass Naturalization Act of 1927 and 32. Right, so I think that part is relevant, but I don't think the part and whose descendants are ancestral Native Virgin Islanders are irrelevant. So I would keep the first part, and then tie it into again expressing that this is a um, continuous journey towards self-actualization or self-determination, so forth and so on. But I don't think that last and whose descendants are essential Native Virgin Islanders should be included in the preamble.
So we should end this whereas where? Where would you suggest?
I would end it at January 17, 1917. And then I would add in the let me wordsmith. Let me give me 1 second.
Can I make it?
would
Oh, go ahead, Devin.
I would add to that who resided in the Virgin the Islands on January 17, 1917, and who had who were citizens of no, or who had no nationalities, something of that sort, to emphasize that these people were stateless.
And if I may, Rudell, now you've convinced me of the purpose of this paragraph. And if it's to, what did you say? To express the continuous journey towards self-determination, right? Then I'm thinking of what are the other checkpoints here? For me, it just changes the use of this paragraph. So we can talk about how in 1927 and 1932, there were questions of, or Naturalization Act. But then also nowhere here does it mention the original Organic Act and the revised Organic Act. And so I think we can kind of put those checkpoints to get to Rudell's "It's a continuous journey" and talk about the lack of citizenship rights and the lack of self-governance rights.
Yep, perfect. You got it.
Sounds good. Chronicle the statutes and such and acts that we had no part of or say in. I think is useful.
While we're wordsmithing in the chat, Judge Christian's ruling is up there for those persons who would like to take a look at that later on.
What year was it?
Almeric Christian.
What year was it?
I 1975.
Ah,
65,
much later
I'm
than we
sorry.
thought.
65, 66.
Oh.
Okay, I wasn't too far away. I wasn't too far
No,
from it.
no, you were pretty. It doubled the population of the schools from 10,254 to 24,369. Okay. All right, we're wordsmithing that whereas clause.
Yes.
We're stateless. We're nothing. Are we people this time or inhabitants?
Also to that,
Natives, okay.
when do we get to the human discussion? I think there's some places where human is going to be the proper word, but I think people is the proper word in other place. So just want to bring that back up.
Okay. So after January 17th, 1917, comma, were stateless. Is that what we want to put there? Had no nationality, they were stateless.
What do you think about that suggestion about mentioning no nationality or stateless or whatever other iteration you want to use?
That's what I was just, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about?
We were subjects.
Get closer to your microphone, Lydia.
We were subjects of Denmark.
Not in 27 and 32.
No, you were talking about before 1917.
No, I meant what would we put there after the date, January 17th, 1917, comma. What would we have after that? What are some suggestions for what would go there?
I added some language to the screen. I'm now working on the part about the revised Organic Act. So if you want to read that.
Can you make it a little bit bigger, please?
Yes, I apologize.
As you would say, no worries. Whereas after the 1917 transfer of the Virgin Islands from Denmark to the United States, the people were rendered effectively stateless until the Mass Naturalization Acts of 1927 and 1932 identify and granted citizenship to ancestral native Virgin Islands without their consent. Oh, I like that. I like that.
Rendered effectively.
Comments?
The people were rendered effectively. I'm not sure that I'm liking my stateless suggestion anymore. But
Hmm.
I didn't hear you, Devin.
I'm not. After reading it, I'm not sure that I like my suggestion of the word
Oh,
stateless. But
okay.
I would want to say were rendered. Uh, well, the fact that we had no citizenship, I'm trying to fit that in someplace. Until granted, uh, bam, bam, bam.
So what's the, now that you're seeing it, could you describe the hesitation or the feeling that stateless is giving you?
Well, did we ever have a state?
Mm. Mm. Interesting.
But the same token, did we ever have citizenship?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking as well, but I'm trying to make the point that we constantly remain in limbo.
Well, then we probably need to say that.
Uh, so
Help us out here.
I did a little bit of research. So technically, from after 1917, we became U.S. nationals, right? So
Oh,
we was not stateless. So let's use the right term, all right?
U.S. nationals.
You said
Correct.
after what date? 17 or 27?
1917.
Thank you.
Meaning what?
Belong to United States.
Meaning that we was the people of the Virgin Islands had allegiance to the United States by force. They would again. It wasn't agreed upon. We the people of the Virgin Islands wanted to be U.S. nationals. It was just automatically conferred to the Virgin Islands at that point.
We should say that. Conferred. I like that word.
Conferred. I like
Yeah.
the word imposed.
Oh,
I
that's
also
even
like the
better.
word imposed too.
Okay, I use impose in my next paragraph,
All right.
but we can use it here. They impose the Organic Act, so whichever we want to use it for.
Yeah,
Everybody happy.
let's finish above.
Right. So there are two parts to this, right? We even today are essentially stateless. I'm sure most of us would agree. And I think we can express that somewhere else in the preamble, perhaps, like toward the end about like our constant state of limbo is coming to an end. Obviously, we will wordsmith that. Um, and then Rudell, to your point, then what is a more precise word? Because I guess by political definition, we would not be stateless, but in terms of self-determination, I am stateless. So thoughts, Rudell and Devin, specifically?
Yeah.
Let me do some research.
Thanks, Rudell.
Okay, so the mass, Rudel, while you do the mass naturalization acts of 27 and 32 are what granted citizenship? That's a question. I thought it was 36, but I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, it was I guess I could pull up my notes because Rudell and I did research on this as well.
So there was a revised organic act. There was a organic act, now revised at that point, of 1927, right? That basically granted U.S. citizenship as an act of Congress to Virgin Islanders within a certain criteria. So that's the first point. Then it was revised again. It got revised in 1932. That extended it, to my knowledge. But I'm gonna just fact check myself.
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
looking.
so what was were the mass naturalization acts effective in granting citizenship?
Okay, so in 1927, Congress passed the Act conferring U.S. citizenship for Virgin Islanders. This act collectively naturalized former Danish citizens. There's a couple of parameters. It also granted citizenship to those born between 1917 and 1927. And then in 1932, so they addressed some omissions from the act in 1927 that expanded it into 1932. It provided a 2-year period for those residing abroad to be naturalized without being classified as immigrants. It applied the Nationality Act of 1940. Oh, that was afterwards. This was cited there. So I don't know. What was your specific question?
Mine, Devin?
Yes.
I was wondering whether the mass naturalization acts were the acts that granted citizenship, but you seem to clear it up. Yes.
Yes, granted it once and then expanded it in 32.
Right.
And clarified, right.
So did we come up with some other suggestions or suggestion for stateless? Going back to the top of our whereas after the 1970 transfer.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that.
I have a word, but it's I'm missing it right now. Not stateless. Renders us virtually
People were effectively citizens of no nation.
Yes, because remember, every March 31st, you
What's
have
that?
big programs where the Danneberg comes down and the US flag goes up.
Yes.
So we were subjects of the United States from 1917.
Right, but that doesn't make us citizens or nationals.
Yes, we were non-citizen nationals until 1927.
Non-citizen nationals. Okay.
To my understanding, and then we became
right.
citizens with limited powers or limited rights in 1927.
So we want to put the people were non-citizen nationals, taken out rendered effectively stateless.
I have a
There you
suggestion.
go. I like that. Rudel, you say something?
Yes, Rudel.
Yes. So the proper classification based on the UN Special Committee on Decolonization is non-self-governing territory. I think we should say non-self-governing people.
I agree. Because that's what they have in their papers.
But we're still non-self-governing people.
And we always had been.
Exactly. So
which continues to today.
I think it's a continuation. And we could use that word multiple times in this preamble to show that this is the trend that has existed for the entirety of the existence of the Virgin Islands.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, Imani, I would take out were rendered effectively.
Yeah, okay, so I fully agree with the non-self-governing people. I still just don't think it fits right here. So we need to get to the Naturalization Acts, and then we need to get to the Organic Act. If we want to talk about the impact, perhaps it's just a separate bullet point. But it's kind of hard to fit in with just these objective statements of legislation. Unless if someone wants to wordsmith it, that's fine. But it feels like it's chopping up the like bam, bam, bam for these 4 things that we did, that they did.
So what about the people continued to be a non-self-governing people and end the paragraph there and then move on to the statutes? we could play with that, but I'm
Mhm.
trying to make the separation between the statutes and the transfer.
So how do we work in the Mass Naturalization Acts of 27 and
That's
32?
another whereas clause.
I think it can all fit.
Okay,
Because
try it.
again, I think that the purpose of this whereas that Rudell stated was to express the like ongoing journey to self-governance, or I guess
Right.
barriers against self-governance.
No problem, no problem.
Identified and granted citizenship. Okay, so I'm cool with how it looks right now.
Whereas after the 1970 transfer of the Virgin Islands from Denmark to the United States, the people continued to be non-self-governing people. The Mass Naturalization Acts of 1927 and 1932 identified and granted citizenship to ancestral native Virgin Islanders without their consent.
I would want to use that word again, Imani. I would say identified and imposed statutory citizenship.
Ah, yes. So you're deleting limited. I'll have to
Because the
enter.
statutory is limited.
Okay. Without their consent. Okay. Oh, you're all right with that, Lydia?
Yes, Congress
Okay.
waiting for us.
I'm sorry?
Yes, Congress is waiting for us.
Imani,
Yes,
if I could change one word,
of course.
imposed. I'm not seeing it on the screen.
It's the United States imposed the Organic Act of
No, I
1936.
see it. Impose statutory citizenship upon or on.
Impose. It says impose.
Hey, take this. Whether you want it or not.
Well, where's that upon going, Devin?
Right there, where she put it.
I'm not seeing it. Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't know grammatically the difference between upon and on. So
Me was.
okay, cool. I'm gonna leave it as upon and let a lawyer.
Yeah,
Okay.
let them fix it. They'll get paid to do that.
Great.
And then the United States imposed the Organic Act of 1936 and the Revised Organic Act of 1954, offering limited self-governance while reaffirming that the civil and political status of Virgin Islanders would remain under the control of the U.S. Congress. Comments?
Good.
The only thing I would say is that there was organic acts before let me just double check myself, but I do think it's a organic acts before 1936.
Okay. Yeah, let me know what you find. Happy to add it in here. I think this part after of 54 feels a little long, but now I'm trying to see where it's redundant, but we took limited out of the first paragraph.
Well, I certainly don't like the word offering.
Imposing?
I like that. Okay. I like that too, man.
Describing limited self-governance or reaffirming. Okay.
I'd like to suggest that somewhere in that paragraph, one word or one phrase re-emphasizes that all this was done without our say-so.
Oh, no consent. Yeah.
Well, the same way that we start with whereas, we could end with without our consent of each of those clauses.
Sure.
Mhm.
I like the consistency.
Yeah. So, are we fine with this clause? Is there any more wordsmithing? I know Rudell's researching.
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
You know what I think could be powerful is if we wrote the preamble in first voice, first tense, not tense. Yeah, first voice.
Tense, yeah.
I mean, we say we recognize, but then down here somehow we've gotten into third person.
There, yeah.
Without our consent. Okay.
Yeah, I like the first person.
So I need to
Have to
where
go
it says
through, yeah,
the people. Yeah, we the people.
yeah.
So, Imani, is that a new paragraph? That last one you were just working on?
It wasn't intended to be.
And if it's going to be, I would suggest again the whereas clause. The whereas, if we decide to make it a separate clause.
Yeah, I'm okay with it being separate actually, because the Constitution is about the structure of government and the rights of the people. So we address the rights of the people with the citizenship question, and then we address the structure of government with this Organic Act question.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so we're good with the whereas clause
Subject,
that's in purple.
subject to Rudolph's
Oh yeah,
research.
yes. Okay. So while Rudell is searching, can we go on to the next paragraph? Whereas we acknowledge the enormous. Oh no, I missed one.
No, you're
No,
right.
okay. Whereas we acknowledge the enormous contributions to the socio-economic and political development of the Virgin Islands by those who migrated to the territory from countries of the wider Caribbean, who endured significant hardships as a result of prevailing U.S. immigration and labor laws, and who came to form an integral part of the Virgin Islands society. We especially recognize those who migrated from Puerto Rico, the French, Dutch, and British West Indies, and I added there British Virgin Islands, whose contributions have been integral to the political, economic, and social development of Virgin Islands society. Comments?
Yes. So I added a comment on the side of the document if you want to hit show more. But these are some notes from a previous meeting, and these were from our constituents that we thought were good ideas. So
Okay.
someone said we should also mention the contribution of our people to wider humanity and the progress of humanity. The Virgin Islands has produced some great minds. The second point was we recognize those who have migrated from all over the world, but then we can specify the collective hardships of those of us in the Caribbean.
I remember those comments, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm back from my research. So
Good.
there was an Organic Act passed by the U.S. Congress on March 3rd, 1917, preempting establishing the government of the Virgin Islands, the governance of the islands, and that was supposed to be temporary, but it wasn't replaced until June 22nd of 1936.
Oh
So
boy. March
again, shows again
1917.
our value to the U.S. Congress and the powers to be.
So was 36 technically a revised Organic Act?
I mean, you could look at it that way.
Technically, it should have been labeled as the revised Organic Act, but because again, how it works is 1917, before we was purchased, they said, okay, we are going to do this purchase, and we need to have some type of rules in place for when we purchase this place. It was supposed to be temporary rules, and it was temporary rules for almost 20 years. All right. So I think it's important to specify that transaction timeline in the document.
So,
Cool.
so what was in March of 1917? You said, Rudell?
March 3rd, 1917, was an organic act that was passed by the U.S. Congress that preemptively established the governance of the islands before they was officially acquired. All right, so that's the
Uh-huh.
first organic act that governed the Virgin Islands.
Oh, we
And
need
then
that.
in
We didn't know.
June 22nd of 1936, they finally revisited the idea of the Virgin Islands and created an additional organic act.
Of
So
19.
exactly. And
Oh,
that's when
wow.
they started conferring rights. I was like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna give them succession.
You're like
Um,
a thought there.
correct.
Can I just point out how absolutely sinister that is?
For
On
sure it is.
in early March of 1917, before the transfer had even happened, Congress preempts any possible call for self-determination and then leaves the question unanswered for almost 20 years.
Correct. And that's why I think it should be specifically mentioned in the document. Because it's part of our
Okay.
history that's not talked about enough.
We need some wordsmithing because we need to get this information out.
Yeah, Riddell, I'm open to language. I'll just make a note here, and then we can always add it in whenever you get something, or I can help with language. But I do think we could move on.
Yeah. So the only other thing that I thought that we should put there, since you were naming the wider Caribbean and the Dutch and the British West Indies, I think we needed to name also the British Virgin Island, which is known as Virgin Islands. They don't say British
Atola.
Virgin Islands anymore, do they?
Ain't Atola no more neither?
I'm sorry?
They're not Atola anymore?
No, it's Tortola is meant, but it's instead of saying British Virgin Islands, it seems like they only say Virgin Islands from all the
Virgin
things that I'm
Islands.
reading.
Yes, I've been hearing that for a while.
Okay, so I think we could break this up into a few different clauses. Let me bring it over.
After the British West Indies, you want to put Tortola in there some kind of way. I think it's called just the Virgin Islands, but that might be mistaken for Virgin Islands. So probably we need to put British Virgin Islands.
Well, we are the United Virgin Islands, and they are the Virgin Islands.
Right, they just say Virgin Islands. Yeah. Well, we're not.
I understand, Delegate Wells, the desire to specifically point out the contributions of the British Virgin Islands because of the close ties. In fact, my grandmother's from Tortola. But
Mine too.
would the British West Indies not be would the British Virgin Islands not be considered part of the British West Indies?
No,
Yes.
no.
No, they are. Yes.
I've never considered that. Huh.
That the British West Indies are the islands owned by the British and colonized by the British, including Tortola,
Yes,
Virgin
and
Gala.
they have the Queen.
So that would be Anegada and all those others,
Yeah.
Jos Van Dyke and even the other British West Indies, aren't they like Nevis and them?
Montserrat, Nevis, St. Kitts,
Yeah.
all of the British
They
islands.
all bow down to the Queen.
And
Okay.
it's derived from the British West India Company, like the Danish West India
West Indian
Company that
Company,
led
yeah.
to the Danish West Indies, right? So yeah, it's and also as I read this, I think this section belongs above what we just laid out, but I read this as a nod to people from the historic French, Dutch, and British West Indies of that time period. So not like modern day, but of the time when it was known as the West Indies formally.
So you're thinking we need to place that paragraph there someplace up near where it says Caribbean, the wider Caribbean?
Well, the way that I'm reading this, it to me is a historic nod to people. So I think it should go after we talk about the indigenous people and our African ancestors. I
Hmm.
think then we talk about the shared peopleness of the Caribbean colonial experience. And then we can talk about uh, moving to the United States, because that's rather modern history, but our shared colonial struggle with the Caribbean was significant.
I, I can live with that then. You move that up to where we had the first discussion about the indigenous. Okay, I can live with that.
So
Let's hear from some others.
you're talking about moving this whole whereas clause further up, Imani?
I think
Um,
that we especially recognize, right? That's what I'm thinking.
yeah, so definitely this bottom part, maybe other parts. Yeah, I think other parts of it could go up as well. There are just multiple points being made here, and I just want to organize it.
I'm good. I'm good with it. Putting it up by the other named indigenous people.
Hmm. I'm not sure that this clause that we're working on right now, I, I, I get a sense that it speaks to more modern times.
Hmm. So, who endured significant hardships as a result of prevailing immigration and labor laws, that nods to history, and who came to form an integral part of the Virgin Islands, that suggests a history. And then the wording
Wait, we have
specifically,
to put U.S. Virgin Islands in that instance, Imani.
okay, well, yeah, we'll have to get consistent with the name for sure.
Yeah,
And then this part about the French, Dutch, and British West Indies feels historic.
okay. But I think that those who endured hardship and who came to form an integral part speaks to more modern history.
Not really. My grandmother came to St. Thomas from Tartola from in the 1916.
That's modern history.
That's
Yeah,
modern?
Yeah,
yeah.
relatively so.
And that's fair, Devin, because it does say prevailing U.S. immigration, which means
There we
post
go.
1917. So
Right, right.
that's, I think, okay, so to your point, I think it's doing both modern and historic. And so I think we can
Okay.
split that, a historic ode to the wider Caribbean, and then a call for appreciation of modern contribution.
Yes.
Okay. So let's try to do the first. Now, this ode that we're giving to other folks, okay? So could we scroll up, please? Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Scroll up just a little bit more. Okay, great. So you'll notice that we're coming out of indigenous and then out of African revolt. And now we are giving ode to, I guess, the wider Caribbean or that collective struggle.
Hmm.
Specifically the collective hardships of those of us in the Caribbean. Okay, so I think this could go here, but do we want to highlight and specify that? And are there any other communities that we want to highlight and specify?
I think the
You
majority
highlighted
of the
Puerto
communities that
Rico. You highlighted Puerto Rico already.
You know, Imani, I think that for continuity's sake, for continuity, for the sake of continuity, I think that the historical stuff about our transfer and such, and the treaties and 36 and all of that speaks to us. After we speak to us, we should speak to other people.
I'm with you.
So whereas we especially recognize those who migrated to Puerto Rico and wherever else, that comes after we speak about us.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going to move it back down. Okay. Very well taken. I don't think we're done talking about us yet after this revised Organic Act section, which I think is why it felt a little out of place. Let me actually just delete this. So what's the paragraph after this? What's our last? Okay.
we especially recognize, that's going to go up by where we recognize some others above like where we just were. In that area after Caribbean, who endured significant hardship as a result
Cool.
of. No, not there.
So there are a few things that I mentioned in our last meeting that I thought the preamble was missing. And so I'm just gonna, because I still don't see them reflected and we need to fit them, not need to fit them in, but if we agree, we should try to figure out where they go.
Yes.
So there's no mention of reparative or restorative justice as a journey that we intend to pursue. There's lack of language around generational continuity, and I think that's really important.
Define that.
That we honor our ancestors and cherish our young as a guiding principle of governance and society.
I just wanted to get a definition. I like it. I like it.
Okay. And then gender justice and inclusion. I know we do talk about that in the Bill of Rights. And we did add it in, but I would like to see explicit calls to action or consideration around climate resilience and environmental justice. And finally, once we finish writing our Constitution, and I hope when we're in committee, we're thinking about the themes or the values that we're really trying to enshrine. And then I think we should summarize and prime those values in the preamble as well. That's kind of like an abstract to the document of the Constitution.
I'm with you.
I agree.
I'm with you there.
And then I wanted to add, because I made this note earlier, that there is the opportunity to be creative here. You know, we could think of like hymns or poems or declarations or just other ways of expressing ourselves, not getting like too crazy and unprofessional, but we are a expressive and creative people, and this is where it could go in the document.
For example?
I don't know. I'd be cool with a who don't have this feel, but you know, I think we are quite eloquent and beautiful and expressive people, and I'm sure there's a quote or a song or a old adage that might be appropriate here.
Exactly. Who don't have this feel? That's spit in the sky, fall back in your face.
Let's think about that after we get through what we get through right now.
Agreed.
We have 15 more minutes, and we need to have one more paragraph.
Yeah. So scroll up a bit, please. Okay. So right there, right there. No, we were good. You were good. We were. No, too much, too much, too much,
Go down some. There.
too much, too much. Go back. Keep going. Down. There we go. The purple language. Yes. So would that come before or after our acknowledgement of the enormous contribution to the socioeconomic blah blah blah?
Well, I would just like to get all of the acknowledgments out of the way early because I want to end this preamble with a bang.
Okay. I guess that whereas the acknowledgement of the contributions can go right there then, where it is in the right hand column.
After the revised organic act?
Well, I'm suggesting where else you think would be more appropriate.
I still think up towards the top with the other acknowledgments, but
I did.
All right.
I thought that too.
Okay. Okay. Do it. Do it.
After the Virgin Islands, and then where are we? Where is the transfer of the former? No.
It'd have to be. It'd have to be right there.
Yes. After the wider Caribbean.
after the well, I moved the whole section up. We definitely
Yeah.
need to wordsmith
Yeah.
it.
I like it. I like it. Let's bring the U right after the who right after the Caribbean.
Oh well, I had them split because these are different clauses. Do we just want it to read all together like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
I'm good with that.
Yep, yep.
Yes. Okay. And have that join up there. Good.
Okay. So now we
Yeah.
just last.
I like it. I like it. Give them their props, so to speak.
So we're done with that paragraph. We're into the last paragraph, and we have 10 minutes.
Imani says she wants
Where
it to
did
go
you
out with
want
a
to?
bang.
I'm sorry.
Imani wants it to go out with a bang.
Yeah, they're gonna bang us, yes, but we know we're good for it.
Bring down the other paragraph on the left, Imani. Let's take a look at it.
Whereas
You were yeah.
the applicability of the United Nations Charter confirms the principle of equal rights and self-determination of peoples, or now we're peoples, and the requirement of the development of full self-government. We affirm that the establishment of local constitutional, that's a mouthful, self-government pursuant to this constitution shall not preclude or prejudice the further exercise by the people of the Virgin Islands of the right of self-determination regarding the attainment of a permanent political status.
I
Now,
like that language. I like that language. I like that language.
let's hear from the others online. Lydia, Rudel, Imani, I know what you think anyway.
Hmm.
Equal
That's a
rights
lot to
and self.
digest. Ah,
I would put just the word split it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I would put self-determination of all peoples.
Oh, okay. I can go for that. Regarding the attainment of a permanent political status. Udell, you and Amani are quiet. That means the thinking caps are on.
Yeah, I am thinking. I have. I think it could be stronger. I think, and I'm trying to figure out the ways to express it in a much more stronger way.
Mhm.
Specifically mentioning. Hold on, I'm trying to pull up something. Like the UN Special Committees on Decolonization in the preamble, which clearly states that we are one of the five, colonies that exist in this world still, right? And also, yeah, I think especially mention that I'm going to try to figure out the wordsmithing way to make it make sense. Give me one second.
Okay.
So you could probably since it's a United Nations thing, we can probably put it after the United Nations Charter. Rudel?
That works for me.
What would the words be?
Give me one second.
I think it's the UN Declaration on Human Rights or something like that.
Miss Wells,
Yes.
is it dark in Texas now, as we
Well,
say?
the sun is still up.
Okay, thanks.
It doesn't go down until something of 9.
Okay.
Is it the UN Declaration on Human Rights, Rudel?
The Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Something like that.
Yeah, 1948.
Or where would it go?
1948 is a good year.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So I would specifically say the specific area of the charter, which is Chapter 11 of the United Nations Charter,
Okay.
specifically Article 73.
Sorry, is it Section 73?
So
Article
it's Chapter 11, Article 73.
Article. Okay, cool. I put it as a comment so we could add it in,
Mm-hmm.
cite it properly. Okay, cool. Thanks for that. So I have this language here, and really I think the only parts I want to advocate for are the have long been denied full political autonomy despite enduring colonial rule and generations of imposed governance. And then to Rudell's point, I think this language of the affirmation is just more direct, that we affirm that the establishment of local constitutional self-government through this constitution is a step in our ongoing journey and shall not preclude, diminish, or delay the full and future exercise of our right to determine our permanent political status with dignity, clarity, and collective will.
That's powerful.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah,
I
much
like
more
that.
powerful.
I could deal with that.
I can too.
Okay, so I think we can keep this first part. But I do like this language of the fifth, so I'm just going to read it again really quick.
Okay.
What language is that, Imani?
I was just trying to make sure I carried over, shall not preclude and prejudice the further exercise by the people of the Virgin Islands of the right to self-determination.
Regarding the agreement.
And then the attainment of a permanent political status versus the right to determine is interesting.
Well, it says, shall not preclude or prejudice the further exercise by the people of the Virgin Islands of the right of self-determination regarding the attainment of a permanent political status.
Dignity.
I think I prefer the word attainment.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I like attainment.
okay, cool. Now, therefore, we do ordain and establish this Constitution. I think that's an important ending.
Yes,
Yep.
so
And of course, it should be
separate.
no, it should be separate.
Yes.
Great.
And should now therefore be in all capital letters?
Yep. Usually.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone's good with this for our ending paragraph?
I am.
Yes.
All right.
You're gonna put in the chapter and verse that Rudel mentioned.
Yes. Yes, I will.
Yeah, chapter 11, article 73.
I have it as a comment, Devin. I'm just not sure how to properly cite it. So I'll leave it as a comment until we
Okay.
get it. All right. Thank you.
Where are you going to put the language on generational continuity?
Well, I think we're almost at time. So maybe we could think about these 4 points or any other things that people think are missing, and we could try to work on it next time.
Right, we're meeting again next Tuesday.
Yeah, let's think about that. I mean,
Same time?
I like all the principles and concepts. I like all the principles and concepts, but let's think about how we incorporate it.
Cool.
I tell you, this is easier work than Rupert's committee.
Government, yes, government structure, yeah.
Oh, yes.
No kidding.
Oh, my God. Yes.
So in the last few minutes that we have here, Imani, do you want to report about anything from your meeting, or you can't, or you shouldn't?
No, I think it's all open information. So we had a good executive committee meeting today. Our next plenary is scheduled for August 2nd. You'll hear more about that. And I think executive committee will be able to bring some solid leads or offerings to the committee for decisions, definitely around our timeline and checkpoints, right? Around our engagement with the legislature. We talked about some of those things today. We talked about clarity around our fiscal administration. So we should be able to have clarity at the August 2nd meeting. And then just talked about what academic institutions we want, if at all, to work with just on a pro bono basis. So it was a really good conversation. So we're meeting again next week to revise and fine tune some of the things we talked about today. And I am just hopeful that we keep the momentum and that we have a good showing at plenary.
Good, thank you for that report.
Where is the next meeting going to be, Imani?
I don't think it's been decided specifically, but I'm pretty sure it will be in St. Croix on August 2nd.
Oh, I was thinking it would have been St. Thomas since you just had one in St. Croix. But it doesn't matter really. I just was curious. And as you say, August 2nd.
I'm sorry?
No, she said August 2nd.
Yes, I saw that in the updated meeting notice that was sent by the president. And tomorrow is Stedman's. Did somebody ask me about Stedman's meeting? That's tomorrow, 6 to 8.
Yes, this will be a human rights meeting tomorrow from 6 to 8 virtually.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
And then there is a government structure committee meeting from 5 to 9 on Thursday.
Yes.
And there is, I believe, another human rights meeting on Saturday.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it's a busy week.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, I'd like to. This was really interesting, and I'm glad we got through so much. Thank you all so much for being attentive and coming with your armor suits on to do this work. So we're gonna look at those. I'm sure Imani's gonna send to us our homework that we have to look at those core areas and where to place them, and then we will be done with the preamble. Yeah. So then the only thing we have to work on would be our Article 14. We need to finish that, and I hope that the person that I invited, I would hear from them in the meanwhile, and they'll be able to come and tell us about the Cultural Institute and all the different institutions that we have as regard culture. So thank you. Job well done. Enjoy the night. See you all, most of you tomorrow, 6 to 8.
Oh, you on the
All
committee
right.
too, Miss Wells?
No, but I just want to go. So, I've never been to one of those meetings.
How many you've had so far, Rudel?
So far we have 3 meetings,
At-
one canceled. We had 3 meetings so far, and there's been one that was canceled.
Oh, so you had 2 meetings actually.
No, so we had 3. We should have had 4, but one was
Oh,
canceled.
okay.
All right. Good night, my friends.
All right, good
So
night, and thank you so much.
Imani,
Bye,
you will
everybody.
also be to the meeting tomorrow.
I will be there.
So send me the link, please, okay?
Okay, will do. No problem.
Thank you very
Like
much, Imani, for all your
the way you
work as
sent it
usual.
today.
Happy to help. Thank you all.
Good
Yes,
night.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, good night.
Girl, I'm gonna have to buy you the biggest gift ever.
We're gonna have to buy her something. I don't know what that is because she's excellent.
I appreciate
Very
it.
good.
Thank you.
Dee, while you're here, these citations that you put in the comments, would you mind emailing them to me so I can get it out to all the delegates, please? Because it's very useful
Yeah.
information that you have.
Yes, he's sending it.
Awesome. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank
All
you
right.
so
Have
much.
a great night.
Thank you, and Rudel. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Rudel, you were able to use your thing? Rudel,
Yes, I was. Thank you so much. I really
don't say
appreciate
what
it
it
again.
is. Just don't say nothing else. Just
Thank-
yes was fine.
Yes.
All right. Good night.
Okay.
All
Have a
right.
good
Good night.
night.